Awesome, Jacob. Let's get this conversation going. We just came right off of Clubhouse a couple of minutes ago where we had our third session we had today. Our topic was for new realtor, marketing and mindset. And our topic today was first week as a realtor, and it really is a continuation of our conversation from last week about prior to day one. And we talked about a number of things today, everything from what do you do in that first week and how do you arrive at this first week? And I know that you put a couple of questions out to us and the audience. And today I do wanted to give a big thank you to our special guest, Mark Passat. He's from our group and he is based off in BC, and he joined us today and he gave us tons of insights and value. So we had a great time having him with us, and I'm looking forward to him joining us in the future as well. Anything you want to add before we move on to some of the things that jumped up today?
Yeah, it was just a great kind of continuation of last week. And to now, we were talking about doing things before your license and pre-licensing stage, and now we can actually get into the meat and actually talk about what it's like to be a realtor and get started and drink through those two fire hoses at the same time, because it's a lot of information and a lot of stuff. But it was an exciting topic. I really enjoyed it.
I agree. And I know that, we were talking about this too, is that everyone wants to wait for the hot topic, which is lead gen and how to start marketing yourself and, working with clients. And I think these past 3 weeks have been crucial because without these foundations and mindset and really thinking about laying out all the plans, you're not going to kick off your career in a very smooth but successful way. So I'm really happy we're having these conversations. And one of the questions you asked was, right at the beginning, what did I do? And I know we had, you mentioned, so we all had different stages in our journey. So I'm about 5 months in, you're about 45 days in, and we had Mark, who was our special guest. He's now at a different brokerage than he was when he first joined, and he's about 2.5 years in. So it was a really nice mixture of different people with different experiences, and it really meant to be a peer-to-peer session where people can jump in, share insight, ask questions, and kind of share all of our experiences together. And the first question we tackled that I really enjoyed was, what did we do differently? Or what did we do in our first week and what we could have done differently? And for me, I talked about, I had, when we talked about it now prior today, when I had tons of, on my social media, on my website, all of that really put together. I literally pressed launch the moment I got my license. And I put together a launch strategy. I had all my business card, my for sale sign designed, and I literally sent them for approval the moment I got my license because they won't approve it without you having it registered. And then I send everything to print. I do have a few for sale sign, and I know we talk about this sometime, if you don't have access to funds, you don't have to go print them. But I'm someone who I wanted it to be prepared, especially in our market and the type of marketing that I was going to do. And, I had some aggressive goals for myself. So I think it really depends on the type of person you are. And I didn't want it to be struggling between timelines. So I think, and then we talked about, and I did all my orientation my first week. I did all my mandatory orientation for my brokerage, and our brokerage is super robust and has tons of different tools. And the fact that we don't have a brick and mortar location, everything is online. So there was a lot more things to learn. And then I did my real estate board, all my trainings, because of course it's the first time I was getting our license. So I did all my trainings that week, and I felt like it was a lot. It was really overwhelming. So when we get to the end, we'll give some advice from some of the things we've learned and how we ended the room. But back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much was the same as you. Like, I come from a marketing background, and the first thing is I was thinking about like, okay, how am I going to set my Facebook page up? What am I going to do with Instagram? YouTube, Google My Business, like all those things. I knew I had to set up. It's the same thing I do with my clients from day one. So I treated myself like I was my own client. And when that day that they said my license was active, I was like, you launch ready. Now what? I think some things that I was trying to do everything at once. I think that was one of my mistakes in the beginning. That I would do different is to kind of slow it down, be a little more even paced with things. But it's just exciting. You're trying to learn everything. You don't want to miss out on anything. You want to, keep things going, and you feel like you're going to miss out, right? And so I think I would focus more on my marketing from day one. Go ahead, because I was a little scared to hit that lead generation start, because I'm like, so what happens when they call? So then I was like, well, let me go learn, what I should say, and my mentor, she was amazing. And I know we'll get into that later, but all of those things, I literally did all that in my first week. I was trying to learn the education, trying to do my marketing. I think I would have focused more on the marketing and setup, and then let the real estate knowledge and transactions come as you're working with clients and those type of things. So that's pretty much what I did, and a few things that I would have done a little bit different.
I also feel like it depends on where you are. Are you going to start off full time? Are you going to do part time? I was going to do part time. That's another reason, also because I'm such a nerd. But again, I was doing it part time. I needed to have all these elements ahead of the game so that when I dive in, I can just start launching things, right? So, and I have young babies at home, so there's a lot of ways I'm being pulled, and I wanted to focus on this, and I think for me, starting off on the right foot is key, because the moment you have a momentum going, you just can keep going. And that's my mindset anyway. And I know that it's so easy to get discouraged in this business. So I think that's where I would begin to, is just making sure you're organized, and just ensuring that we're all in this together, and ask questions when possible, right? Because it can get overwhelming right at the beginning. Let's dive into some of the things we talked about when it comes to mentorship. So leverage, again, your first week is all about leveraging your brokerage, getting to know your broker, getting to know the way that your brokerage works, and really, how are you going to apply this license? How are you going to, making sure you have everything set up, your website, the number of different social media, and we talked about what's working for us. Really, to sum it up, I know we talked about everything and really how we're applying it to our brand, but I also wanted to talk about, your mentorship. Find a mentor, and remember, when finding that, I actually made a video. If you wanted to check it out, you can check it on my channel. I did one about how to find the right mentor, and because right at the beginning, I wanted to find my mentor, and for all of us, we wanted to get someone who was the best at everything. And it's so important to figure out what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and that what you need support with, and go find the right people that can give you support in that. Your mentor isn't going to be amazing marketing person, amazing transactional person who's going to give you the right mindset. They may not be able to support you on all that level, because they have their own business to run. So make sure you're leveraging this person in the best way possible, and what you need help with, and that they have the strength in, and they're an expert in, right? Like my mentor to this day, I never asked him a lot of marketing questions. The only question I've ever asked him recently was about a dialer. Literally a technical question about the Mojo dialer, because it's different in Canada versus the US. Um I think that's where I am. And I think for me, I talked a very little bit about how my mentor right at the beginning, I was suited. Um, I was paired up with a mentor who wasn't quite the fit for me, and they weren't available for me. And they were, because they were an icon agent, in our brokerage, they identify these people who are high performers, who've done a certain number of deals. And he was great at what he did, but he wasn't available for me. So, and I needed someone who was available for me, who I can literally text and ask questions. And I needed someone who was going to help me with my transactions, who's going to help me with my conversations with my clients, negotiations, and making sure that I'm in compliance, filling the right forms, reviewing all my forms. All my forms were reviewed, every single one of them, by my mentor. Not a single one left my inbox without my mentor reviewing them. So that was very key for me. And he was literally available at 10 p.m. at night. He's such an awesome person, and I'm glad I have access to that. And I encourage you to go find people. And remember, and I said this very lightly, but I really mean it, when you're paying for this. So you're paying for these services. And so make sure you demand you get the right person, and let them know that, you want to be paired up with someone who can assist you. But go ahead.
No, what's funny is I had a completely different experience. So, my mentor from day one, she was amazing. And one thing that I liked was I remember the first phone call, she was trying to explain how I could get a client, and, you need to make a database of all the people and all these things. And then when she asked me, tell me a little bit about your background, I was like, well, I own a digital marketing company. She's like, oh. And she's like, okay, well, and I said, well, I've already kind of like hit the ground running with marketing. And when I explained those things to her, it was a match made in heaven, because she is more kind of traditional marketing that most realtors do, you know, networking and all those things. But for her, those came to a stop with COVID, right? And she's going to have to learn with this whole pandemic. She had to learn how to do things differently. And she was icon agent her first and second year, and she does great business, and super smart lady and super helpful. But she has been there. Like, she told me day one, here's my cell phone number, easiest way to get a hold of me is text me. And then literally every time we get on the phone is like an hour. We kind of joke like we probably shouldn't get on the phone. I think that's just my problem, but she's a talker too. But she has really helped me. She keeps trying to, the other day she checked in and, you know, what do you got going? What do you have in your pipeline? And she keeps telling me, man, you're already light years ahead of where I am marketing wise and with social media. And I'm even actually helping her, excuse me, with her marketing. And, you know, it's funny to see everybody's different things, but if I would have picked a mentor, I probably wouldn't have picked her. I would have
Interesting.
probably picked somebody that was great in marketing, but that was stupid because I don't need that. I need,
No.
you know, real estate transaction. When we got to talking, she introduced me to help me pick out my own mortgage person. And what's funny is she didn't even make me pick hers. Like, she said, you need to interview with people and find a personality. And that guy's even going to help me with some YouTube series. And so, you know, mentors can open doors for you. And so try not to go with a mentor that is exactly the same strengths as you. Let them kind of try to find somebody that's great with the weaknesses. And mine, I don't like, you know, the traditional knocking or cold calling, things like that. So somebody like that is great to come alongside of me. And she's very detail oriented. I'm a more big picture person and just action oriented. We'll fix it later. And she's got all these systems in place. And so it was nice to see somebody that could just come in and fill that area in.
That's great. And we, right afterwards, we jumped into talking about website and social media platforms. And, you know, right off the bat, I wanted to say to people is that make sure you choose the right, you know, platforms that you want to be on. And you don't have to be on all of them. And you don't have to be the master of everything. And making sure you understand your capacity. Again, are you full-time? Are you part-time? How much can you handle? What are the things that are going in your life? And the reason I say that is the moment you know, in anything that we do, it's really important. Two things I always mention when it comes to your website and all of your social media platforms: stay consistent in terms of look and feel, but also the content you're posting and when you're posting them, because though you have an audience that you're building, they're going to start expecting all of this stuff to come from you, right? So that's one. And second, make sure everything's integrated, right? Make sure that when you're posting on another platform, you can take a long form content like YouTube, and then you can break it down for all of your other platforms. So making sure that you're being efficient from the beginning, because I will tell you one thing, you're going to get busy. The moment you get that one client, all of your attention goes to them. And especially if you're like me, who are part-time, all of your attention goes to them, and all of your marketing is going to fall. So that's why I, from the beginning, started time blocking. And sometimes some of the things are non-negotiable, even social media posts. That's why I consistently on a daily basis I'm posting, and I have 2 to 3 videos now. With our Zoom videos going out, we're doing 2 to 3 videos a week on YouTube. So making sure you're consistent even when you're busy and you're working with clients, your branding doesn't stop, your marketing doesn't stop, right? And that's why for me, I look beyond digital marketing, is because you want to try different assets and different tactics that work for you. What worked for you in your market might not work for me in my market. So you figure that out and try to get on there. And, you know, one advice that I would give is, if you were to take all my social media away from me and you were to give me one, I would go with YouTube. And I'm just starting off, and I will encourage you, YouTube, just look into just getting started, right? Just get started, learn the basics, get the branding, make sure you're consistent with the branding, start with some topic and stick to that audience, and just get started, you know. And there's so much we could talk about when it comes to YouTube. So go ahead.
No, I totally agree. The first advice, anything with social media, is pick one, maybe two things, and become really great at it. Don't just try to like dabble in all of them. Even if it's just one thing, pick with it, run with it. YouTube, even if it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever, but just do it and do it well. And then once you master that, move it on. If you're a little more advanced with social media, like you said, repurposing content is huge. You know, doing a YouTube video about 5 reasons you should move to Houston or Toronto. You know, that's all. Though that series can be segmented into 5 different short video clips that you can post on Instagram stories, your TikTok, Instagram reels. So you can create content for yourself. So just become organized with it, and just do it. I think that is the big thing. Is even for me, I hate being in front of the camera. I just always, like I tease you, I feel like a bobblehead sometimes. So, you know, but most people don't see that, or they like that aspect because it's more relatable. And that's the other advice I would give, is be very real. Don't make everything so perfect, because there's a huge trend going on right now with these short videos. People do not like these super edited videos. They like the raw content, even if it looks like you're running through and it's like the Blair Witch Project movie. Like, people, they just like that because they want something that's authentic and real, and that proves that it is. You know, even us doing these videos, we're just right here in our home doing it and going on because we want to be accessible to people. So, you know, just be real and make sure that everything that you're posting, you're watching yourself, and what you're putting out there is your personality that you want people to see. And if there's something that you keep doing, make sure that, you know, you put a post-it note while you're recording or something to remind you, or something that will draw the attention that, oh, I don't want to say that next time, or I don't want to do that. Just make sure that what you're putting out there is a true representation of you, because you are a brand. You are selling yourself, and however you want to take that, but you know, you are a product. And you know, all my sales training in the past, they would say, you know, whatever product you're selling, that's not the product. They're not buying that. You're
Yeah.
the product. You're what is going to make people, because there's tons of realtors out there, but what makes you special? And so just use those platforms to showcase that, and to accelerate you, because they're all free. You know, we love free. Go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. No, those are really good points. And another advice that, again, Mark brought this up too, is that to be honest, right? You can pick a market and stick with that market. And let's say you live in places like mine, like Greater Toronto area, or like Houston, where it's massive. You know, it's wide. So maybe pick an area within that market and just be perfected. You know, just know a lot about it. Do your homework, and knowledge is power. You know, people align yourself with people that know their stuff, and it's so easily understood when they don't, right? And that's why, and often if you don't know, that's okay. Just be honest with them and tell them, I don't know, but I will go find out. And or maybe find someone in that area that is really good at doing something, and there you get a referral fee out of it, and now you get to collaborate with someone, and maybe you learn in the process, right? And maybe this is where you can work with your mentor. And I think that there is, you know, often we get so caught up, you know, and I talked about this before too. And that's why these topics are so important right now in this point of your career, because it's all mindset. And the moment you make up your mind that this is the type of results that I want in my business, it's a game changer. It truly is. Everything else, truly, honestly, we all go for the meat, which is lead gen. And you, as a marketing person, you know, to me, lead gen is the easy part, right? It's the working with your clients that's a hard part. Maintaining your business is the hard part. Planning to attract people is the hard part. You know, attracting them is the easy part. And I think that, and then staying true to your brand throughout that process, right? You can be this certain beautiful, perfect brand online and know it all and knows everything, you know, because you could be copying other people's content. But then when it comes to meeting your clients, you make sure you deliver on that, right? And there's one more thing before we go I wanted to mention is Google My Business. And we talked about it heavily. And, you know, make sure you set up a Google My Business. I think that's one of those things that if you have to choose one of the platforms you want to be on, make sure you just start a Google My Business. It's an integral part. The first thing people do, anytime you want to go to a restaurant, what do? We Google it first to see reviews. Everyone is all about, they want to know what certain people are saying about a certain person. So make sure when you're working with people is that they're writing good things about you. They're writing it. Not only are they writing organic content, making sure they're writing it in the best, in a way that it talked about the experience working with you, and also reach out to us. We can get really in depth as to there's a process to. Sorry, our little one is up. We work them up with our sound, but I wanted it to, there's a process to it, and feel free to, if you are currently not, and I will add a link to this in our video. We just started a Facebook group for new realtor marketing and mindset, exactly that. You can search it and join our group, ask questions, and we'll talk a little bit more about Google My Business and how to properly set it up and some of the things to keep an eye on, because they will delete your reviews if you don't post them in a proper way. So I do wanted to mention that before we jump on. Any last words, Jacob?
No, you pretty much covered it. But one thing that I would definitely, most people think, oh, I don't have anybody, I haven't worked with any clients or anything, but you have worked with people in the past. You do have people in a professional capacity that know you. So they can start leaving you reviews. They can tell you, you know, great to work with. They show up on time. They're punctual. They're reliable. They're trustworthy. Those things, you know, make sure, you know, they spell everything correctly and it's good worded. They can always go edit it, but you know, have them start getting some reviews, because it's going to help you with your Google map listing. And you know, but you can get started today, and so reach out. And it's another great way to let people know you're a realtor, you know, is, you know, they might, most people still, I've, you know, even 45 days in, people I'm super close to, oh yeah, you are doing real estate, yeah, like duh, like
Yeah.
that's all we talk about. So just that would be one final keynote for Google My Business.
Awesome. It was awesome chatting with you, Jacob. We had a great session today. I'm looking forward to our fourth one on Wednesday at 8 p.m. This is a peer-to-peer session, a safe space for new realtors. And we're on Clubhouse every Wednesday and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 7 p.m. Central Time. Please join us. And if you don't have access to an iPhone, that's okay. You can visit the link below. We have access to all the calendar events of when they're happening. And you can stay tuned for this Zoom video that we put out. We literally jump on a Zoom call right after our Clubhouse, and we do a recap of all the things we talked about and all the questions that came up. And then you can, of course, join our Facebook group, New Realtor Marketing and Mindset, and we'll love to have you. And we share tons of resources in there, and it's a collaborative environment. So we encourage you to join us on that. Thank you so much, Jacob. Have a great time. I'll see you Wednesday.
Thank you. See you then.